Let's see. The agenda basically is continuation of ifs, learning iterations. I gotta fix that. And loops, and then a little bit of arithmetic. So let's get into a script. Alright, last class we all touched up on ifs. We'll be going over if else. So basically, it's not too complex, but it's basically a whole other statement. So first we'll start with else. So let's get some variables. Local A equals 12. Local B equals 13. So we're going to create an if. So we're going to do if A is greater than, it's greater than 11, then, actually no, we'll do it higher. So if A is greater than 13, print hello. So we're going to run it and see that it doesn't print anything. And that's mainly because 12 is not greater than 13. So this is where an else comes in. So we can see that the else, its purpose is, if this line is not true, it will do else. So if I put in print by, you're going to see here, it prints by instead of hello. And that's because if we read it and if we translate this code to English, if A is greater than 13, print hello. If not, print by. That's basically what it's saying. So as we can see, and if we interpret it and put our or plug it in the number, it's basically saying if 12 is greater than 13, print hello, which it's not, so it will go to the else. So now there's I like to call it death stacking. A lot of people in programming, I'm gonna introduce the next thing, which is else if. What a lot of people like to do is just spam else ifs. So they'll like to be, okay, so if A is not greater than 13, what about 12? Oh, if it's not this, what about 11? They'll count down with else. There's a lot better ways to do it, but basically an else if is just another if. It was basically if you're doing one if here and one if there, but it can be used in combination for if you just want to keep it into one giant if statement. So this is all kind of one if, but it will go down the line, so this each has their own statement. So if else is greater than 11, so it'll print hello or by. So you're kind of like, okay, why don't we just use a bunch of ifs? The issue is else doesn't allow you to do these after. You can't do a clause or ask a question, or you can try and look for specific things when using else. So if you throw an else if in, it allows you to put these stuff here create a clause or ask a question okay, now A is A greater than 11, so which is true, so that's why it's printed by. Now we could do different things. So if we try a more complex, local C equals true. So if not C, then else if. You can kind of separate it. I don't know, actually, no, can you do that? 12, then. Oh yeah, you can. I just like to keep it close. We gotta fix that. And then we just keep doing else ifs. B equals 12, then print 1, print 2, print 3. So if we see this, and we'll see what it prints, it only prints 2. They're basically just long chaining. I probably shouldn't use that word. They're probably just you're basically just chaining if statements. So if not C, we can just translate this real quick. If not true, then, which it is true, so that doesn't run. Else if A is equal to 12, which A is equal to 12 here. Else if B is equal to 12, which B is not equal to 12, it's equal to 13, print 3. So it only prints 2 because this statement is only true. Alright. Does anyone have any questions for the if else statements? Just so I'm typing. If not, we will be going on to while statements. Yeah, it's basically, it can be like a switch kind of, which is like, if this isn't true, else do this. So else can be applied to, so I should probably explain that. If a, alright, let me get a variable. A local a equals 12. If else, I mean, oh sorry. If a equals 11, then else. So basically, what this is a can equal anything else. It could literally equal, it could be a true, it could be string, or well, yeah, you can just type a string or string. But until a equals 11, it will print 1. If not, it will always print 2. I'm pretty sure even if it was nil, it'd print 2, because it's not yeah, it will always print the opposite. Not the this isn't the opposite, but it will always print the else, because else is just asking, is it not this? If it's not this, it will always print, or it'll always do whatever's in here. It doesn't always have to be a print, but it'll do whatever's in there, on contrary to this. That's basically what an else is. An if else is just another if statement that just says else if not equal to this if, it will done. So it's like another, it's like a check. So if I were to just do an if else a equals 12, then, but then if I were to run an else, it's like a, oh, it still works. Wow, okay. Print 3. It's like, let's see 13. Let's do a 12. It'll only print the middle one. So if I were to make it 13, if I were to make it 2000, all of these checks would not work except for the else, because nothing here is equal to 2000. If it was equal to true, it'd still run that 3, because it's still doing an else. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I have to go and plug something. But, sorry, I'm back. That is basically what it is. Do you get it? Alright, next is learning iterations and loops. So, I don't know if you're typing still, Diamond. I'm not trying to overload you. Alright, while you're typing that, I'll go into while, or iterations. So, yeah, that's correct. It'll print correct. Okay, so iterations. So in Roblox, say we have an if 12, then, so 12. Okay, so in this line, we see if a equals 12, then end runs from 4 to 8. So basically, what if we wanted to be like, okay, I want this to run multiple times? That's where iterations come in. So let's change our numbers a little bit, and it's going to get really tricky right here. While a equals, oh, let's do while a equals, no, not equals, is less than 10, We're gonna have to flip that around actually. So, while a is less than 10. Oh, still typing it wrong. Okay. Do, so while a is less than 10, do. So we have our end. So this is basically, what I'm gonna set this up to do is, I'm gonna bring in another arithmetic thing right here. So we're gonna set a is to 1. We're gonna do a plus a 1. So basically, you're like, what the hell is all this? I just brought all this up. So, what a while do is basically, it's an if. But it will keep running this 4 to 9 until you want it to stop. So what I'm doing right now in this is I'm adding on a plus 1 each time. So it will run 9 times. This will run 9 times. Because this means is a plus 1 equal to itself. So it's add and assign. That's what this new arithmetic operation is. It's add and assign. So say like I wanted to count from 9 to 10. So I'll print, or 1 to 10. I'll print a. And we'll see it work. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it went to 11. Why did it go to 11? That's actually weird. Oh, okay, I know why I went to 11. I know why. Yeah, started at 0 would do that. I know why it went to 11. If I started at 0, that's because, yeah, I know. So, I'm gonna explain why it went to 11. So if we read it, so let's count it. So let's keep doing. So it's only checking if it's 10. It's gonna add that 1, so that's what it did. So it's 2. It's gonna 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's correct. It still is 10. So it's gonna add on that extra 1 to make it 11. Because all it is looking for is 10, so it's still gonna print 11. See? It's because of that equal sign. That equal sign makes it 10. And if we go line by line, okay, so if it's 10 right now, so if a is 10, okay, now a is 11. So now it's going to print a as 11. So that's sometimes you might not even pick that up. So if we really wanted to do only 10 increments, we'd go at 0 to 9. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly. Okay, now what if we wanted to count down? So now we would change it to, we'd flip it around, and we'd go from 10 to 0. Well, this is going to be -1, so let's go that. Do note, for the prints, that's not as many times as it runs. We can see it runs 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, it does run. Okay, I did fix that. Okay. Oh, it didn't run at all. I'm an idiot. Oh, okay, I'm stupid. If a is less, then it's supposed to be greater than. Please do not, I changed that around because a is greater than 1. That's why I had to flip it around. So now it runs 9, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5. So that runs 10 times. Because we start at 10, subtract it by 1, and print a. So, there's a lot of questions probably with what are the purposes of while true do's? Or like, well, yeah, well, I'll explain what a while true do is in a bit, but what is the purpose of a while do loop? There's numerous purposes. Here's an example of it where I just wrote like it's an iterating loop that I want to run a specific amount of times. Yeah, you're all good day. So it allows us to basically control as many times as we want to run this 4 to 9 inside. So being able to control that's really important because say we want to combine a while loop with an if loop, so we want to get a at a specific time. So say we want to get a at is equal to 5. Then this is where it gets a little bit more confusing, but I'll explain it. This is going to run 10 times, and then it's only going to print 5 because 5 is only happening once within this while loop. So we can no, I won't print anything else. We'll just show it. So it only prints once. So that's because we run it 10 times, -1, -1, -1, -1, until it reaches 5, it prints A. So that's how we use combinations of while and ifs. There's a bunch of things we could do with it. It could take me literally years to explain every single thing with while loops. But there's numerous things. I'll show you another example of instead of numbers. Okay, now when running this, you can literally just put words in there. Always, this is gonna break your computer. I don't want to show it. Well, it's not gonna break. It's gonna break your studio. Please put a task.wait, because if I don't put this here, this will run infinitely. In Roblox, you used to not have a stopgap to it, and it literally just break your studio. They now have like something that stops the while true do, but what a wait is basically just wait 1 second. And I never explained what a wait was. It's just wait 1 second. Task.wait is like a newer form of that. I don't really know much about it, but I just know it's better for performance, I guess. But which one's faster? There's the same time, but one's better for performance for some reason. Which task.wait is? I've been told numerous. I never really actually did the research. But while true do is basically just, it's basically just like you're running this infinitely. If I'll show it. Hello. That's actually not a string. It will just, every second, it's going to print hello. And please note, it's just like any programming. It doesn't go from bottom to top. It goes top to bottom. It's like until you tell it to go a different direction, which is, I don't know how you're going to do that. It goes from top to bottom. So whenever you do a while loop, it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's just my example. But that's how it goes. If you make it all the way down here, you could usually do a while wait to end. That's another thing. You can time the wait. I mean the while true. But you could put your task in there. Your task.wait in there. But it's reading all this. As long as you keep your end in there, it will read all of this. So I'm not saying, oh, you gotta minimize it. Just don't try to have giant things with like your ifs, and then have your end all the way down here. It's just like terrible organization. And if you suck at like organization, there's a format tool. That if you just highlight everything and just format selection, it'll fix it for you. So say if I just have like a bunch of if, then if a equals 12, then end. It organizes it for you, but if you don't have that, you can just do this and then format selection. Or if you just format documentation, it just does everything. I'll throw in another thing real quick, which is comments. You can just type anything you want. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be read by the script. That's basically what it is. So good documentation is basically explaining this is what this while loop does. So it once it reaches 12, it doesn't actually do anything. It'll just keep printing hello. So it'll print hello every second. That's documentation and programming. It's basically explaining what it does. But that's basically everything. Does anyone else have any questions? The homework's basically gonna be on that stuff. I'm gonna make it tricky. I love doing like difficult questions because it actually makes you think, oh, what is the issue with this? What I do prints for is, in programming, prints are basically your debugging. What I mean by debugging is actually finding out if it's running or not. Because if I do a while true do wait 1, hold on, let me actually make sure that goes. I'll never know it's running unless I actually check like my core scripts. So this, I don't know this is running right now because it's physically not doing anything, and in the back end I don't know what it's doing until I visually, I know it's running, but I'll never know it's actually running if I type a like a string of code. I don't know how it works really. I'll never know it's running unless I do a print. So that's why you do prints in programming. Just make sure to remove them, because if you like open up like F9, you have to actually run it. I can't open up F9 logs. Anyways, but if you open up like the F9 logs, you'll see a bunch of prints in the server or client. But that's why I do prints. It's to see that it's actually running. Yeah. Anything else? If not, that's all for today. We'll probably do tables next class, or I might do something different. So print is just a temp tester. Yeah, print is basically just a tester. So like for backend programming, if I can't see what's going on, I'll usually just do that. But that's all. That's it for today.